Never say contract, say agreement. Payment, never say payment, say investment. Buy, never say buy, say own. Hey, what's up, solarpreneurs? Today we're going to be talking about how to master presenting financing for solar, selling ownership. If you are in California specifically, the main products most companies sell right now are PPAs, leases, power purchase agreements. So with everything going on, we're going to talk about how we can present and approach selling ownership. We got some expiring tax credits. We got a lot of urgency for people that do want to own their systems. So let's talk about how to sell it. My name's Taylor Armstrong. We're here to help you close more deals, generate more leads and referrals, and have a much better time in the solar industry. Thank you for tuning in the podcast today. We're free and available on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, coming at you every Tuesday and Friday. And I want to apologize. We've had a few repeats of episodes. It's been crazy. If you are not grinding right now, I don't know what you're doing. So we're coming at you with fresh content, but we got to stay busy selling systems because that's what it's all about. We got to take advantage of this urgency right now. That's what I'm doing. I hope you're doing the same thing. That being said, we do have some pretty exciting guests coming up in the next couple weeks. So please continue to shoot me your guest suggestions. I've had a lot of people send out suggestions for guests, for people that are crushing it right now in solar. So thank you so much for those people that have sent over your guest suggestions. Please keep them coming. And I promise we're going to have some exciting guests coming up here in the coming weeks. So let's get into the topic. Like I mentioned previously, particularly in California, we're primarily selling PPAs, leases. But my first, I would say 6-7 years in solar, pretty much from 2016 to, 2022, we were selling loans. We were selling financing for the system. We were selling ownership. And the reason for that was because before they made the switch in California to NEM2 to NEM3, you did not have to have a battery. It was 1-for-1, a buyback of the credits. At least close to it. And it just made a lot of sense for people to own their systems because they could put it up. The rates were really low. We were getting people loans for, 1.99%. And dealer fees weren't crazy high back then either. So it just made so much more sense to sell ownership. But ever since they made the change from the NEM2 to NEM3, now they're requiring batteries. In my opinion, it's shifted to where PPAs and leases make more sense because when you consider the battery goes up, these batteries, they need replacements. If they're in the PPA, then they got that replaced for them. And it's just a little bit easier too because you don't have to add in $10,000-$15,000 for the battery. Now it's just reflected in the power purchase agreement. They're not seeing this massive loan amount. And just a little bit simpler to present to people. Okay, but all that being said, we have a pretty unique circumstance right now to where the tax credit expires at the end of this year. And all the research we've done is saying that the systems need to be approved and in operation by the end of the year. So at the time of this recording, we're in September. That pretty much means that this month, maybe next month, it's kind of the last couple months coming down to the wire where people can buy a system and most likely guarantee the tax credit, right? I would hope that anyone selling it now can get it approved and installed by then. If not, then hit me up. Okay, and I'm speaking for California, but this is obviously nationwide for the whole country. It's just a lot of urgency for everyone over the whole country to sell these things, get them approved and installed by the end of the year. So if you are someone like myself that's been mostly selling power purchase agreements, leases, thought it would be helpful to brush people up a little bit on, hey, what are the key benefits? What are the key ways to sell a finance system? And I present it a little bit differently because I know most of our teams, a lot of our guys have never even sold a loan or a purchase. And so I'm actually doing a training on this at our team correlation tomorrow. I thought, okay, let's go over a few things for our listeners. So, and let me know. I haven't sold as many of these lately either, even though it's all I sold for the first 6-7 years of solar. So there's probably things that I'm rusty on too, but I'm going to do my best to refresh you, to let you in on the key things that are important when it comes to selling ownership, and hopefully it helps someone out there. And if you're seeing the video version of this, hopefully you're seeing my black eye is almost gone. So last week was pretty bad. Got a lot of comments on the black eye, but I keep getting beat up in jiu-jitsu. Take care of yourselves out there. Don't get black guys like me. Yeah, well, let's jump into it. So the first point is make sure you give people what they truly want. And this is a point that I'm going to hit pretty hard with our teams out here, just because so many people, especially in California, they are shoving the PPAs, the leases down people's throats. And then they're surprised when they get cancels, because some of these people, they didn't want a PPA or a lease. They wanted ownership. But too many reps out there are dead set on selling leases, PPAs, or whatever they're comfortable with to their grave. Right? They want that so bad. Maybe they think commissions are bigger. Maybe they don't even know how to sell ownership, so they're just going all in on that. I had a story last week. It just happened where a customer, he was so set on getting a system without a battery because he's installing his own batteries. I guess he has an electrician who can get him batteries super cheap. So instead of fighting him on it and said, no, you have to get a battery with us, I'm like, okay, well, we'll hook you up with panels and then go for it. Get your batteries up there. There's no point in creating all this friction with things that are unnecessary. I had another customer last year where this was already after the change where we needed to do batteries. And I remember I almost lost the sale because I was pushing so hard for the PPA for the lease when this guy, he wanted ownership. He wanted a ground mount system. I was trying to talk him out of that. And then got in the moment where he's kind of like, you know what, I'm going to look at some companies that can do this. And I realized, I'm like, Taylor, what are you doing? This guy, he told you exactly what he wanted, and you're trying to talk him out of it. You have a sell right here. And the minute I shifted that mindset, gave him what he wanted, got him a ground mount system, he wanted to buy it cash. I ended up walking out of that house. It was a same day deal with a check for $1,000 deposit, and got the sell progressing where I practically lost it just because I was so set on getting him a PPA and explaining to him why he shouldn't do it. Hey, so just something to think about. At the end of the day, it's the customer's decision what they want to do. It's their homes. It's not our home. So if they want to do something, even if it's something that's a dumb idea, I've had customers just sometimes want some strange things and want really small offsets when they think people are leaving the home. I've had customers want some things that, to me, it's really stupid what they're asking for. But hey, all we can do is explain the benefits. We consider ourselves the doctors in the office, right? For explaining to our patient what they should do, what the treatment is from our expertise. But if they don't want to do it, that's on them, right? So sometimes they just want something else, and hey, let's give it to them. All right. So consider that. Don't shove what you want down their throat. Explain to them the benefits. Explain to them the expertise. Come across as an expert. Explain to them what you would do, and explain to them what other customers are doing. Remember, people don't want to be told what to do. But if you can explain it from other people's point of view, if you can ask them questions, then most of the time they will do what you think is best for them. Most of the time they will understand. But they don't want to feel like they're being talked out of something that was their idea, right? They're never going to do it. Okay, so give them what they want. All right, and so if you do get those customers that are wanting the ownership, which there's going to be probably a decent amount because it's not a secret. A lot of people know that these tax credits are expiring. I actually went to a football game, Utah UCLA, last weekend, and ran into a guy I go to church with, and first thing he said to me was like, hey, I heard the tax credit's expiring. I might need to look back into that solar thing with you. This guy from an old church member, hadn't seen in probably a year, and he came up and told me that at the football game. So people know about this. People know tax credits are expiring. So use that to your advantage. Hit up people, hit up old leads. Maybe you have people that were dragging their feet. I would definitely recommend going into your CRM. Hopefully you have a CRM, a database of all your old appointments, people that didn't sign up. Send them that text. Hey, tax credit is expiring. These are the last couple months. These are the last couple weeks to guarantee that we can get you the tax credit and get your system up and approved. When's a good time to pop by with the info? Okay, shoot them a text like that. All right, and so once you get some new leads from sending out some text like that, let's talk about some ways that you can present this a little bit different. Like I said, maybe you are used to selling PPAs and leases. So how should you present the ownership differently than the PPAs or the leases? Okay, first of all, the biggest benefit is they own it. People relate to that. Okay, and I remember my first 6-7 years in solar, this was our main selling point, is that people love owning things, right? They own their house. Okay, they own their cars most of the time. And so it's something that people are already comfortable doing. So I think the most powerful way to sell this thing is just relate it to things that they already have done. They bought their house, they bought their cars. Mr. Homeowner, the reason why so many people are doing this is because it's the same thing. It's just renting versus owning. Let me ask you, what's the main reason you guys decided to buy a home instead of renting? Ask them questions like that. Hey, you were sick of paying rent. You were seeing rent go up, right? You can give them some good stories. I always tell people, hey, I remember when I was in my apartment, it was going up every year. We leased it at $2,500 for 1 year, then it went up to $2,700 the next year. Yeah, so what if you could do, hypothetically, if you could do the same thing with your electricity and just lock in a rate? Do you feel like that would be something that would benefit you guys? Okay, people are going to say yes. So you got to build the problem, right? That part's the same. Make sure you hit hard on the problem. Utility rates are going up. Bills are going crazy. Blame it on Trump, whatever. Look at all the problems why rates are going up. But then once you have that problem, you need to relate the ownership aspect and why they should own their power. Okay, and then there's some pretty cool calculators, things like that you can use. We would always use a spreadsheet calculator. We would input their yearly energy usage versus what their yearly financing payment would be. And it made it super simple to break down. Hit me up. Could probably share a copy of that if you're interested. Just a little simple calculator. But that's the biggest thing, and that's the biggest difference, I would say, is just make sure you are relating the ownership of things they're already used to with how they can make the same decision when it comes to their electricity. Okay, and then the last key to this is make sure you're avoiding trigger words. I would say this is even more important in explaining financing and ownership than explaining leases, PPAs, because there's a lot of words that can just turn people off, right? So particularly loans, right? You should never be saying loans. You should never be saying we're taking out a loan to go solar. Hey, instead you can say, hey, we're doing financing for it. Same thing, but less scary. Okay, and then just some other trigger words in general that I'm going to go over with our team tomorrow in a training too. But contract, you should never say contract, say agreement. Payment, never say payment, say investment. Buy, never say buy, say own. Sign, never say sign, say autograph or approve. Cancel, don't say cancel, say flexibility. Appointment, say pop by instead of appointment. Free, say no out of pockets instead of free. And then deal, instead of saying deal, say program. So a lot of little things, and we've done podcasts on this in the past, but especially when you're talking about owning, about taking out loan, do not say the word we're taking out a loan for this. Hey, we would always call it a program, right? It's not that we're not selling them solar. We're doing a program where the bill they pay, the redirection program. I know Taylor McCarthy, that's his word for it. But you're just redirecting what you're already paying for power towards the ownership of the system, and it stays set, right? So if you think about all the money you've dumped, Mr. Homeowner, do you have a wild guess how much you think you've paid for your electricity over the past 30 years? Probably a lot. So if you had something where you could just keep it set and then eventually ends, just like how you can eventually own your home and you won't pay anything else for your cost of living, do you feel like that'd be a good idea? Yeah, boom. Okay, well, so today all we do, the reason why we're out here is because so many people are trying to get in on this, just because with what's going on with tax credit, we do have to lock in the rate now and make sure we can get it up before the tax credit expires, because it will not make sense after that. So we'll get this in with you, Mr. Homeowner, and hopefully it gets approved. I can't promise anything, but if that's all that happens is we lock in and you guys are set at $150 a month instead of paying $180 and it continues to go up. Do you see any reason why you guys wouldn't be a big proponent for that? Why that wouldn't be a win? No? Okay, great. So we'll get you copies of everything. I just have to get the application in and then hopefully it gets approved. But we'll make sure to follow up with you in a week or two after our team does the site survey and after everything goes through. And hopefully it's a thumbs up. Good luck. Okay, something like that. So make sure you are building a ton of urgency with this. Make sure you're doing some solid takeaways. We still got to get approved. And I promise you, if you do this, you're going to have an insane amount of business before the end of the year. Hey, make sure to grind like crazy. People that are not going all out right now, you got to be crazy. It is the best time to sell solar probably in the history with all the urgency we have going on. So I hope that helps give you a few things to think about, a few things to chew on as you take advantage of this urgency. But remember, keep it simple. Don't make it complicated. Really, it's a pretty similar process, but make sure to relate it to ownership of things they already know. Avoid trigger words, avoid the scary words. And that's pretty much it. If you do that, you're going to sell a lot of systems before the end of the year. So send this to someone that maybe has not sold ownership in a little bit. Maybe they need a little refresher. Hopefully it helps them out. And please continue to send me suggestions for topics and guests that you would like to see on the show. Happy selling this week. Go grab some deals, and we'll see you on the next episode.